this video may be out of my depth to a degree. I talk about things that I have personal experience of. So, of course, it flows. It's easy for me. It's literally ingrained within me. It's like something I'm just relaying, things I've been through, how I've processed something, and my perception on life. It's quite simple to me, maybe, enlightening to someone else. There is other areas of my life where there's still room for growth. There's still things I'm learning. So, I'm still experiencing my way through. So, like personally, some topics I'd rather wait to develop and evolve before I talk about it. So then I have more understanding of the process, and again, I can talk in the same level that I would normally talk at. So I don't really like talking on topics if I'm not well versed in it. Which is sometimes when you talk about politics, for instance, there's certain areas I don't discuss really because I just feel that I don't have enough experience precisely in that, whether it's like a region of the world or something that's happening and it's quite big. But again, I can't have a strong opinion one way or another, because it can be dangerous really. Just talk on a whim and just come up with like all sorts of things that have no substance. It makes no sense. Again, we can have opinions, of course, but I think it's important if it's just an opinion to share it as an opinion and make it clear. So this video, it's really open for interpretation, I think, and it's not an attack on anybody. And I think I'm really trying to be as careful as I can because I think it's really important because at the moment, at this stage, it's my opinion. It's my opinion. It's not, I can't specifically say this is this is that, So it's going to be spiritually based. I sometimes change my backgrounds for different topics, but it's a whole process. And I'm thinking I'm just probably going to keep it as is now. Unless it's the political. So I'm only going to have two backgrounds. I'm not going to have a whole spiritual background anymore, I don't think, because it's hassle. What I want to say is this is my spiritual book, Losing Your Mind to Find Your Soul. So I've got other books. The other three, if you look at the image there, the ones on the right after that are personal growth development that help people through life in general and find themselves. This is a spiritual book. If I was to encourage people to buy only one of my books, it would be this one, because I think it encompasses both, like the spirituality. Within spirituality, there is personal growth. So I think people will find themselves quite strongly within this. And then you can consider other books. The two on the left are my trauma. They're literally me fighting for my daughter for a family call, dealing with my hardest moment of my life. And you get to see really the struggles I've been through and how hard it was for me and really how determined I am. So you see all aspects of life, really. But this is my spiritual one. There is another one I'm working on, but it's at the moment, it's not the priority. I'm not going to talk too much about all this because I want to get on something else. But because I've got a different book that's coming next, another personal growth one, it does push the other one slightly back. So that will likely, the follow-up to this really, will either be out next year in 2026 or 2027. Depends how the year goes, really, because time does get away and you've got other things to do as well. But that's developing well. I think it's really good, personally. But there is one topic I just feel very strongly about talking about because I'm witnessing things. And like I say, because I've not experienced it for myself personally, I can only witness it in others. So it's a harder topic for me to go deeper. All I can do is share my opinion. And that's all I'm doing. And I think in any event, when anyone goes on a religious, spiritual, or otherwise journey, it's important to use your own discernment anyway and pave your own path. So you use the information, of course, that you garner, and you can decide whether you feel this fits you, whether this is accurate. It's not for you to just blindly follow people, I think, and just mirror them. It's like find your own path in life, and see what fits you and what you feel is real, is true. So I don't think it really matters. So if I'm going to share opinion, even if it wasn't opinion and it was based on my experiences, people would still have to use their own discernment anyway. Anyway, so I'm not trying to sort of like minimize my opinion on something. It's just I really am at a raw level with this specific topic. And I'm like anything, we grow knowledge, don't we? We get through knowledge, we sort of gain the wisdom, and then we become more experienced with things. And so effectively, experience has to start from somewhere, doesn't it? It usually starts with a seed, and then it grows and grows and grows. So I wouldn't say it's at a seed level. I'd just say it's growing. It's growing. And that is spiritual psychosis. It's something where I've seen multiple people, so not just one. And it's usually someone who's quite developed. So it's not usually someone who's just at the beginning stages of a spiritual journey. Wouldn't even necessarily say religion, although religious people can also go down a path where it consumes them. But I've noticed it a lot with the spiritual community, especially those who have gifts. So if they've got psychic abilities and they can do all sorts, make mediumship, or even if it's just a tarot reader, there's this difficulty with accepting, I think, just normal life when you go down a path towards perhaps enlightenment. So it's a rabbit hole where you start to focus your entire life on figuring out the answers as to why we're here, the connection to source, and then other aspects of the of spirituality, whether in the astral realm, and which takes you on a negative and a positive path, because there are negative entities that can get quite deep, and then of course there's positive entities encouraging and supporting us. So there is a light and dark, and again, it's up to people to figure some things out for themselves. I've discussed it a bit in my book that's coming next. Well, not next, the one after next, of course. But the psychosis thing I've seen in a few people, like I've seen people lose their minds. Again, I'm trying to be as delicate as I can with this. I've had very gifted people, and I'm telling you, personally, through like sessions we've had together where we're like on live camera and stuff together, and I've had other people who I know are gifted, and they've reached out to me personally, and they don't normally do it. And they've said, I don't normally, they've even said it many times, like, I don't normally do this, but I feel like pulled towards you, and like, I feel like I should do this. And this was earlier in my journey. And these are not, like, people can be skeptical about that, but I'm not here to play into skeptics. I know full well these are not the sort of people who would go just approaching anybody. So it's not a tactic, is what I'm saying. So I've had people like that, and I've had people who have had a bit more of a personal connection with, so maybe we've developed together for a period of a couple of months or so and gone their own journeys. And they've, and each of them have said I have sizable gifts, and they will it will unlock in stages. So as my frequency increases and I become more enlightened myself, so through my development, I would unlock new gifts along the way. And apparently I have sizable gifts, which I take very serious. Again, I don't know how much I should say or shouldn't say. But there's someone back in 2023, I thought they were incredible. Like they were connecting to the angels. They could do energy cleansing on people. They could see entities around people. They could do all these things. And I wouldn't say they suggested it. They literally stated it, because through sessions. And they said, literally, you have the same abilities as me. Our personality is just different because we've got a different role. Effectively, they're a bit more peaceful, a bit more tactful. I'm the warrior. So I'm going to go in all like, almost like guns blazing, really. I'm here to pave the way, like bash, and then they come. So we've got our own little role in this world. So our personalities match what it is you're here for. So I've got a lot that I can unlock, and I have experiences now. I've spoken about it before. When I don't meditate enough because I'm tired a lot, because I'm exhausted, because I have so much to do. So they're focused. To put it into, this is what I just want to do, the perspective of it. Some people literally have committed and dedicated their life to the practices of spirituality. So it's in developing their gifts. So they further on their psychic abilities, if you say. So they can do things that I haven't unlocked yet, or even if I have unlocked, I have not developed it. Because for me personally, my life is far more balanced. So a lot of these people, including them, they try to encourage me to invest more in it, focus more on it, take it serious. And they can never understand why I'm reticent to a degree, because they're always thinking from their own path. Their path is all about developing it, and that's their life. With me, I feel it's important that I balance like traditional life and a spiritual path. So even though I could lose myself entirely to a spiritual practices, and I could advance and become enlightened, and who knows how powerful, who knows what visions and things I could go through, I don't have an interest in going so far as to lose myself to it, because, like, for instance, like I said there, I think we all have a path in life, And I feel for me, it's about fundamentally, it's about people finding themselves and living a life that is representative of someone's true essence, someone's true core. Don't get lost to society, the temptations that sway people. So a lot of this comes in a more of a grounded way that's not necessarily spiritual. So I want to be able to help the masses rather than a subset of people, you know? So if you go down a spiritual path and you're solely dedicated to that, realistically, the only people you're likely to reach out to and help are going to be people who have a similar interest. So if someone's not spiritual, you can't reach them or you can't help. And I can't help but think the majority of the people on the planet are going to be non-spiritual and non-religious. So that's a huge subset of people who they can't be inspired and helped. And also within myself, I just feel if you go so far as towards enlightenment that you want to be 100% connected to source spirit, you want to have that connection on earth. Perhaps in the future that is something that will be normalized, like way into the future. But right now it's quite a dense experience we have. It's very negative, it's heavy. And I don't think that's particularly beneficial right now, where we are in our evolution. Because if you go so far as to want to like bridge that gap, it does beg the question, why be here in the first place? Why be on earth if you want to be in spirit? So if your whole life essence is about reattaching ourselves to spirit, you'll be back there when you die. So why do you want to spend your whole life living as though you're dead? Do you know? Because you're gonna. Do you see, I don't know if I'm explaining it properly, but for me, there's a whole part of life that would get lost in translation. There's a lot of there's actually the fundamentals of life itself, and I think don't lose sight of that. So for me, I bridge the gap between the two. I'm a very balanced individual. I can understand the beauty of life. I can understand the temptations, the negativity, the toxic patterns. So I remove myself from maybe the things the average person attaches themselves to. So I might be considered maybe unhinged, antisocial sometimes. There might be certain aspects of me where you'd think he doesn't conform. So it's unconventional, whereas the average person's conventional. So they'll go to traditional jobs, they'll live by those sort of like virtues and values. They work themselves to death. If you go down a spiritual path, you don't necessarily do that, do you? But then maybe you go so far as to like detach from the world entirely. I'm bridging the gap between the two. So I inherently understand the spiritual side and I have my own gifts. But I also am very much grounded in reality as well, the 3D realm. And I think that's personally very important. So yeah, I can continue developing and harnessing the energy that I need, in terms of like what I do. So that's detaching really from energy vampires, people who drain you endlessly. The more developed I get, the more I'm aware of it because I can feel the energy. So I know now. Maybe I didn't have an awareness at the beginning of my journey, but I'm more advanced now. So before, maybe I missed the signs. Maybe I'm around people who drain me. I get tired and exhausted. You just think it's normal. You just think I just feel tired. So maybe you rest for a moment and then you keep putting yourself in those situations because you don't know any different. Well, now I'm aware. So if I sense an energy is off, I'm going to remove myself. And I don't care how socially awkward it is. I don't care if people think it's rude. So put it in context here. We are going to get onto something else in a moment. If I was in a relationship and I had to meet someone's family, and when I meet them and there's an incredibly negative energy over them, like, and you can feel it, because I'm trying to not swear, but I don't play silly shit. I don't play, let's pretend we're all a happy family and I'm going to smile and get along and try to make you like me. I don't do that. You're either a nice person or you're not a nice person. You either got positive energy or you got negative energy. So, what is the vibe? And if you're not nice people, I'm not going to waste my time trying to make you like me because I don't do fake. So even if it was a relationship and I had to go into an environment like that, I would leave. And I don't care how that looks or how people want to treat me after or whether the ending of a relationship has to happen from it. But I'm not going to place myself somewhere that's incredibly dark and negative. And that's something I've developed. And again, that goes in every walk of life. So there is that side of things. I just think it's important just to maybe explain that side to a degree. And like I said, there's going to be people who are incredibly deep within their spiritual practices, and they're going to be far more developed than me because I've not dedicated myself 100% to it, just like compared to other people. Doesn't mean I'm not committed to my own personal development. Doesn't mean I don't have new experiences because I'm always my life is a continuous synchronicity with the universe. It's impossible. I said recently, it's a bit like Harry Potter, where the letters just kept coming through. No matter how much people tried to stop, it was just inundated. That's what my life is like. I have synchronicities just continuously. It doesn't stop. I'm always getting signs of this, signs of that. People might not understand what I mean by that, but it's everywhere. It could be number patterns. It could just be like I open an app and there'll be a simple word that alludes to something, and my mind just jolts to it, And it's like almost like I'm being sent that signal to look, you know. Or it might be certain content is on social media. You look at it and you think, well, this is crazy because I'm not reacting to this content, and yet it keeps coming to me. Not only does it come to me, there might be certain metrics attached to it. So the person might put information around it which is pertaining to me, which is weird. They might say something very direct within the content, and it triggers me and I go, well, that's crazy. Then I might look at other things, maybe the time. Maybe there's synchronicities around the time that match the video or match something that's important, like serious to me, like certain numbers, or maybe even like the likes, comments, shares, and all those things. And it happens time and time again. So it's not like a one-off. It's like this is literally a communication with the universe, if you like. It's like my guides and the rest of the angelic realm communicating with me and guiding me to show me what's to come, what you need to do, all these things. But I inherently know it myself anyway. So that's why that matters a little bit, because I already know it internally, what I need to do, how I'm feeling, what's coming next. And then I'll get something like that just reaffirms it. That's all it's doing. It's not like I'm seeing that from a blank canvas. It's like I'm seeing that on the top of all the other things going on with me, So, like, for instance, I just want to put it out there. I do my own tarot cards for me. I don't do tarot for other people. Maybe if I think someone needs it, I might just like go, I'll pull some cards and see what the answer is to that. But realistically, I think what's important there is I'm contained with my own energy. I think that's the difference. Is I take things quite serious. I inherently understand the dangers, and I think some people give their energy away too freely. I think they leave themselves vulnerable. Because effectively, everybody has their own energy field. So they pull good and negative things in. Just think of it that way. So some people may have negative attachments. And when I say attachments, I mean entities. They could be just mischievous, malevolent, or they could be malevolent. They could be demonic. You don't know what people have got around them. So some things could just be draining someone's energy continuously. You surround yourself with those people, or you try to do spiritual practices with that person. Who knows what kind of worms you're opening. So you better do your own protection. And these are things to learn. I've discussed it in the book. But like I say, I contain myself personally. I don't have an interest in validating to other people. I don't have an interest in trying to figure someone else's life out to that degree. I'll help you on a personal growth level. But if you're going to talk about like psychic mediumship and all that stuff, I'm not even trying to develop that for myself to a certain degree yet. And even if I were, for me, that's the way I see my spiritual gifts. And I know I have the potential to do more because I've done tarot cards for other people, and they've always said, "Oh, that makes sense," and this is crazy. For me, I'm just more interested in developing just maintaining and developing the connection with my own guides and the deeper echelons, the higher frequencies of the angelic realm. And I've said it before, I can ask questions. I can ask Jesus, Yeshua, Buddha, how they think about my journey? What does Archangel Michael think? What does the council like? And I always get similar messages if I leave it, like, let's say you leave it 3 months. Let's say I do it sporadically. Although it evolves, it tends to stick very similar to each individual. So I sort of understand their personalities. Jesus, Yeshua is always proud of me. He understands the journey I go through. It's not easy. And that makes sense because he's had this experience on earth himself. So I kind of like, well, that's crazy. And then Buddha sees me, it tends to see things more as more of an adventure you're going on. and things like that. So that's quite interesting. Archangel Michael tends to be a bit more serious, so it expects more of me. So there's usually that. So if I ever get a really positive card, like I know how well I'm doing. So I don't take it personal if it's not incredibly positive, because I know the expectation he has of me, especially like taking your protect. He has different things he wants of us, or at least he wants of me. And because I don't, who knows what you're in training for the next part of your development in source, you know? I get a lot of signs, and when I say a lot of signs, I know in myself, and I've already had this it confirmed, this is my last lifetime, unless I choose to come back again. So again, people might not want to delve into that side of things, that our soul is evolving continuously, and you'll have many lifetimes to evolve and develop, and then you increase your frequency. If you have setbacks, you're going to have a negative, your frequency is going to diminish. So you're going to have to work harder in another life. So by all accounts, I've had those lifetimes, and I'm at the end of my cycle. So I don't know what I'm in training for the next side. But the fact that I can have those moments with very significant energies, I think suggests something quite profound that I'm quite excited about getting to when this life ends. So, it's all onwards, upwards to me. With that in mind, let's go to this point where people, I believe, lose their minds, personally. And look, I'm trying to be as delicate as I am because I don't want to call people out, and I don't want to make an absolute statement. It's an example of, and I just want to show an example of. So I think it's really important that we don't just say this person has lost their mind. I want to show an example of let's go, rather than say they have, let's talk about the potential that they could. So we're not saying they have lost their mind. We're saying, even if they haven't, this is what it could look like if they did. I think that's the best way we can do this. Like I say, I've seen people lose their minds completely. They can get a bit arrogant. They can get a bit too above their station. They just, self-importance. It just goes further and further, and then they just go down this path where they're being negatively influenced, and they don't even realize it. So let's see if we can get this up. There we go. So I'm not going to be able to say her name. I think it's Shaya. Shaya. I don't know. Now, along my spiritual development, I've had many, many, many talented, gifted people appear on my For You page on social media. Most I've never interacted with, haven't needed to. I'm not someone who I don't crave attention from people. So I know some people will do that. If you see someone who you think is maybe at the top of their field, you might feel a desire to reach out to them because you just want to be in their energy. I don't really have that desire. I just focus on myself. So I've seen her content for a long time. And I reckon the things she says and the way she talks about certain things, I always recognize she is deeper into her spiritual practices than me. So I only really began in 2020, but it's been rapid. And put it into context, when I had this session back in 2023, the person who's more developed than me, he's been going for maybe 10 years more. But he was saying that my development is rapid because that's literally the path I'm on. So I needed to go through an awful lot of traumas and things because that was the personal growth side of my journey where I have to help people. And, so I had to go through things that people are going to experience. And then I was going to have to catch up with the spiritual side. So I'm rapid. But that's just that side of things. So there's going to be people who are more advanced, but it doesn't mean they stay advanced. I'm not saying anything beyond that because I'm just taking it each day at a time. So she started off, I felt quite wise. She'd even have things she'd write down. She'd write it down. You listen to it, and you thought, "Well, that's deep. That's good. That's you think that makes sense to me. I believe that is true." So you're listening to her, and you're thinking she's really, 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 really smart. Like, for instance, if I had a TV show and I had a panel of psychics and gifted people, my screen just went mental then. Maybe a few years ago, I would have, and you had to have people join you on some sort of like TV show or something. I would have had her. That's what I'm talking about. Like when you talk about levels, like she was good. Now I've been detaching from social media for a while. I get fed up with it, so I'm on and off. I'll leave and then I'll come back for just a moment, just to see what's going on in the world, really. And other sides of society, not always in the spotlight. It's not always got to be whatever's happening in politics, whatever's happening with celebrities. It's like what's happening in the world, in the real world, amongst people. I kind of like that. So there's a love-hate dynamic I have with social media. But anyway, I don't want to digress too far. So I didn't notice she'd gone for a while because I was gone for a while. But I'm doing my own things. You see me, I'm writing my books. I've got all the YouTube channels. I'm making all different content. That's where you'll see me. All you got to do is go on YouTube and you go on my different profiles. If one looks like it's gone cold for a little bit, click one of the others. You probably see a load of content there. That's where I am. I'm not gone in some weird psychosis. There's nothing wrong with going through an enlightenment period. Let's say you detach from society for a bit, you go on a period of self-discovery. There's nothing wrong with that. So I don't want to sort of like put a weird angle on that side of things. There's nothing wrong with developing your gifts and your connection to spirit, to source. But I think it's always about balance, and it's all about everything's in moderation. To recognize that it doesn't matter how enlightened you become, you still have to exist within this realm of reality. It's like that's why we're here for a reason. Otherwise, what was the point? That's kind of where my mind goes. What's the point if we go so far into understanding every aspect of our existence and nothing else has any substance or meaning? There's no relevance to it. Then what the hell is the point of me existing amongst it? So there has to be a balance. So what I noticed with her was she started getting a bit more deeper and deeper. This is what I'm saying. Like, I'm not saying she has been corrupted in any way. I can't say for sure. But I'm just going to show what I've seen, and I think that's the best way of doing it, rather than say, "Oh, that's what this is." I don't know. Like I said at the beginning, it's quite raw to me. I saw her as a very gifted individual. That if I had a panel on the telly and I was on the TV as well, I would have won. And I was handpicking people, she would have been. So if I had 5 people I can bring with me, we don't know each other, but I respect her content, and I would have said, yeah, I'd have her. So to see, for me to return to social media, I'm not really big on it. I'm only in and out, but I've seen her videos pop up, and again, I've been recently over the past few weeks, I've had a lot of, because I'm on a different profile. I'm on a much smaller profile that I created as a sub profile a long time ago because I've deleted my main one just to put in context, and I haven't had any tarot or psychic stuff on my channel. It's just been really about influencers and things that drives me nuts. I'm getting so fed up. I'm just going to delete it the whole lot soon because I can't deal with these people. And out of nowhere, all of a sudden, the tarot stuff just started coming back, all the psychics. And these were people that I didn't have enough content of through this channel. So it's not like this channel knows the algorithm to my previous channel. This was a channel that had none of this. And I'm getting all of the familiar faces come back. And I'm like, I remember this one. Oh, yeah, I know these faces. I've been watching them for 5 years, or up to 5 years. And she was there. And she looked drastically different. And I was like, what the hell's happened to her? Like, genuinely. I know some people say, well, it's none of your business and all that, but it's like it's a curiosity. What the hell happened? Then I started going through, looking at some of the comments. I'm not gone that deep. I just saw some comments. Some people are saying, was looking for you. You've been gone, and I didn't know where you went. And some of them saying, we've been manifesting you. We wanted you back. And she said, I felt somewhat I've been manifested back. So I thought that was quite interesting and curious. But I don't know how long she's been gone. All I know is, before she left, so this is the aspect I knew of her. She was really into exercise, so she was going to the gym often, so she would do video content where she's talking from the car, and she would just talk about things like that. I think there's a guy she was attracted to at the gym, and you know when you can't get their attention. It was because she's not really, she doesn't seem a very flirty individual, but it was interesting to see that side, She had all her hair, of course, she would. But she was doing other things. So a lot of her content had changed from very, I felt, uplifting spiritual side to deeper practices. And I think that's naturally where you go, potentially, as you start to unravel. It's a bit like if you was to go through mythology and maybe you have an affiliation towards Greek mythology, but then you start going towards Norse mythology. Maybe you start going towards like the Viking stuff, and you start to go towards like Thor, Odin, Freya, and maybe there's darker aspects to those entities than there is to maybe the more popular ones. And I think that's perhaps, like, if to put it into that context, I think perhaps there is that. So from my understanding, if you're talking about entities on the other side, like, it's really hard to put it into context, really, because I know of the sort of layers to the entities. Like, where some are just a bit mischievous. They're not really powerful, but they can still cause little bit issues in your life. Then there's some that are just darker, and but they don't really not really labeled. But then you've also got others who are known, maybe through history, maybe historically they're known. So what she started talking about a lot was, I know she kept talking about the grimoire. All she kept saying a lot of times, she kept referencing the grimoire, things she's uncovered, and she would go deep into that. And then Hecate. Hecate and the grimoire was always started to become the focus of her attention. And she'd say, I've just been I'm channeling the Hecate and going deep into the grimoire. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, to be totally honest. I've heard of Hecate, the name Hecate. I have no idea what grimoire is. So, again, you're learning, aren't you? And I'm thinking, well, this doesn't sound great. Like, from my understanding of Hecate that's an entity that's light and dark. From my understanding, I don't think they're entirely a negative entity, but they're not pure light energy either. So there's going to be, I think personally, maybe, I don't know if they're good or bad. Maybe they're just in between. So I get signs that Hecate influence is part of my life, and I'm really not sure of how true that is or not, but it's not something I really attach myself to. So, I'm more, my journey, my only focus, if I'm talking about like me, I have no interest in connecting to, I don't know what you'd call them. I've just, in any entities like that, I'm only interested in my spirit guides, the angels. What would you call them? I'm trying to think now. There's a certain word you would use for them, of course. Oh, I'm lost. I'm lost with the name. But like Jesus, Yeshua, Buddha. This is what I connect to. So my guides, the angels, Buddha, Jesus, Archangel Michael, Council of Light. If there's anything else or anyone else that I'm supposed to have something with, I'm sure I'll go through in meditation. I'll come across them. But I'm only interested in sources of light. If someone is half and half, I don't really have an interest in it. If they're supposed to be in my life for a reason and they're pushing me towards something and I'm not aware that it's them, or I'm not really communicating and it's just being guided, then I'm sure that's what my path is, so whatever I'm supposed to be. And maybe it's preparation for something. But I have no interest personally in communicating with anything it has any energy towards the negative. Now, that's not to say it's a bad thing if you do it. Like, for instance, I know a very gifted individual who deals with the light and dark, and they literally, they have a very, very powerful purpose in this life. But that's not my job. That's not what I'm here for. I know I'm not here for that. I am a warrior of light, and that is how I consider myself, and that is literally how I take it serious. So what she's doing, I have no interest in. So when she talks about the grimoire and Hecate and all these things, I'm like, that doesn't even interest me. I really don't care what Hecate has to say without being rude. Whatever's in this grimoire is not really of interest to me, really. But she was going down a path where that was literally consuming her. And I just thought that can get quite dangerous the further you go deep into this, because you're unraveling things that maybe you shouldn't be going towards. But the curiosity gets to people. So I'm not saying whether she's been corrupt or not, but it worries me. Because your energy shifts and then it's like, what are you attracting? That's the concern for me. So through the comments, it was saying the people were saying that, the last I heard you was going to Paris. I wonder what happened in Paris, because effectively she's gone to Paris. This is what I'm uncovering. Again, not looking deep, you just see the odd comment. So apparently she went to Paris, comes back. At what point did she shave all her hair off? I've got freaking no idea. And there's like an arrogance to her, and I'm not that deep into it. It's not like my life; that's their life, But I'm trying to figure out: are they just going through a period of processing the things they've been through to balance themselves? Or have they gone down a dark path where they've now been a bit corrupted and influenced in a negative way? Or has their vessel been taken over? That's sort of like what I'm considering at the moment. I don't know the answers at the moment. I've not asked my guides or that, because to be honest, it's not something I'm that interested that I need to involve my guides with. You could think it's a cop-out. It's not. I only talk to my guides about things that I want to talk to them about. I don't waste their time with trivial things, really. maybe certain aspects of my life. But again, like I said, I mainly focus my guides towards my path and my life. You could think it's selfish, but like everybody has guides. Someone wants information for their life. Speak to your guides, communicate, do your practices, and build your knowledge up and experiences. I don't ask people to do it for me. It's like, yeah, sometimes it is nice to hear it from a third party, but ultimately, I know at any moment I can get my cards, ask a question, my guides give me an answer. And that's the relationship I have. What do I need more than that? And if I need a deeper answer, like for instance, I've got a title for one of my books. I didn't know, I couldn't figure the title out. I was like, I don't like that title. So I asked for my cards. This was about earlier in the year or last year. I can't remember when. And it didn't feel right. But I couldn't think of something. So I used my cards and I said to my guides, like, do you like the title of this book? And it was like, no. That's the answer that come out in the big no. And I said specifically, if I meditate, so if I was to go into a meditation, will you give me a name for the title for the book? And it was yes. So I meditated. Literally, I think it took me about 10 minutes or so. I can't remember exactly because you have to do a little period where you have to go into a restful state, and it's like you hold your hands together like this. You have to do energy. So you have to. I don't normally do that. You won't normally sit talking on camera doing all this crap. I don't do that. But if you're meditating, you have to, because that's really when it's like all of a sudden. So like, I could sit there for ages, nothing happened. As soon as I do that, boom. But it doesn't happen straight away. If I was sitting there like that, I still have to build the energy up and things. So it's like it's only when I'm ready and then I do that. All of a sudden, I just get visions. And this name just comes straight to my mind. This title just popped straight into my mind. I was like, you sure? Like, I'm not sure, but if you're sure. So then to confirm I got it right, I get my tarot cards out and I'm like, right, this is the name I saw. Am I correct? Is this the name? Is this the title? And it was like, yes. And it was talking about all sorts of success. And I was like, holy shit. That's the connection I have. I'm just showing the connection I have. So I can do all those things. I've had other experiences I'm not going to go into now with other people. So maybe someone's seen something recently or something's happened and then I was just thinking of something. I went into close my, I can't remember what it was, but then all of a sudden I just had this image of, I've said it before, I had this image of like this, and I don't normally have that, by the way, this tiara. I just had this tiara and this ring. It was just in my mind. Very vivid. I see it. And they said, well, this was someone else back a few years ago now, back in 2021, I think it was. That was crazy because they just watched the Oprah thing with Prince Harry where he was talking about Princess Diana, which would point towards the tiara and the ring. So because he had recently married Meghan, I think. So anyway, that was actually crazy, wasn't it? And I've had a few other things. I might ask how someone's feeling or how they're doing, and I might even feel it in myself. I might get bad chest. I might start feeling hot out of nowhere, and it's like, so I can pick up other people's energy if I choose to, which I'm not saying I play with. Again, I don't really do. I'm not into all that personally. But yeah, if I'm curious about someone, I think how they're getting on in life, I might pull my cards out and ask them a question. Or let's say it's a potential for romance. I might say, what's happening? Like, what's the situation between me and them? And I'll get answers. I don't push it too fast, their life. I don't want to deviate too far because I think I'm going off track here. I start to go because there's so much to consume, But I consider what I do a journey towards just in alignment with myself. And I have a beautiful connection with my guides that continues to develop. And I think some people, like I say, go a bit darker. So we're going to show a few examples of the content now. On my phone, it wouldn't show me older videos. So I'm hopeful if I press oldest here, it will. I haven't been on here. But on my phone, it just kept stopping. I was like, has she deleted all her old videos? Because that would be a bit nefarious. Like I would think that's a bit sinister, but that's a lot of videos to delete. So I can't see I've done that. Wow, she has. Yeah, I don't get good vibes with this. I don't want to say the wrong thing. I don't want to pigeonhole someone. Why would you? She had a lot of videos because her channel's big. She's got 230,000 followers. And I've tried in the past to bulk delete videos and bulk private videos. It don't work. I don't know if TikTok's changed it, but I couldn't do it. It was a nightmare. Her videos have gone missing. That would take a long time to do that. From my understanding, it would take a long time to either delete or make your videos private. So she's gone out. She must have gone out of her way to do that. At 19 million likes. That's not from the past month or two. That's weird. So you go to oldest video, just like on my phone, I had the problem. Her oldest video is October. I think that's October. So where's all the old videos? Like, if you're going to show the journey, for instance, I think it's really important to show the entire journey. So how you are today is a reflection of who you were before. So I think it's important you don't deny people that side. So someone who comes across her content now, unless people have made other videos of her, you're not going to know the version that existed before. This is the only one you know. Now, maybe they just want that clean slate, but it just seems quite that raises alarm bells to me. That this straight away, I was like, where the hell's your hair gone? Like, some people consider it more spiritual. If you do shave all your hair off, I think it's mental. That's my own personal opinion. You don't need to do all these practices to be more in touch with yourself. You know, for me, it just goes a bit to the side where, again, how far in this plane of reality are you, and how far are you removed from it? I don't know what she's going to be like here because I've not seen it. This was obviously the first one of the ones she wants to share with people.
So, what you doing, babe? What you doing? What you doing? What you doing? You're going through a big tower moment. You're going through a very, very big tower moment. And I feel like I don't even want to tell you how good it's about to get, because the future doesn't really matter for you here. It's a bit of tower really tied you down. There's a relationship here. Maybe this new you is going to...
She looks all right there. I'm going to say that much. She seems all right there. A video came up just a little while ago, and she looked a bit mental. It was in a video. It's a picture one. Maybe she's getting... I'm hopeful she is not having some psychosis, to be totally honest. Where's the ones I've seen? I can't say by the ones I've seen because I've not shared them, saved them or anything. This one I saw, and I was like,
let the fire build you.
I wish you well in the hell you created for yourself. But it's this massive thing here. Like, what is this? I don't know what Hecate looks like, but in my mind I would think crow, like crow-esque. I don't know. I don't want to sort of go down a rabbit hole, to be totally honest. Let me just pause it while I try and do Okay, so this is just a little image search. I mean, this is what I'm getting for Hecate. I mean, people can do their own searches, of course, but straight away I'm just drawn to this one. Hecate. I mean, you look at that personally, and then I look at this. Obviously, it's different things, but how he's got... See how it's all like dark, it's black, it's just it's got all this like material dangling down. I'm getting vibes from this. I'm getting vibes. I'm not saying one way or another. Just it's a worry. For me, there's a worry with things like that, because how much are you and how much are you them? And then how long before you just become them? Now, I'm not going to go too deep in that. Your problem is her videos are tarot, so sometimes it's going to be, hopefully, it's her being helpful, but then other times it's going to, the hair situation. Man, I can't show an example with hair because she hasn't got it now, and I think that would be really interesting to show both sides of it. Yeah, it's a bit mad. There was something else I will say, actually. I'm pretty sure it was her. I think it was earlier in the year, but it could have been last year, but I think it was earlier in the year. But it might have been last year. But she went to Los Angeles, and she did not like it in Los Angeles at all. She said California was just full of dark energy. You could feel it everywhere, and she just wanted to go home. She was getting upset by it. She didn't like it at all. So again, like I said before, you don't know what energies attach themselves to you and things, and it's like all those things. If you're a source of light, you're going to be... It's like a moth to a flame. If you're not doing your protections properly, and you've got this... I don't want to say morbid curiosity, but you've got this curiosity towards maybe perhaps slightly darker elements just out of curiosity. Where does that take you? But this image here, I looked and went, what the... Like, that gives me Hecate. Like, she's already delving into Hecate and this grimoire. Let me just look up grimoire, what the hell that is. I mean, there we go. Book of Magic. You put up grimoire, that's what it literally says. A grimoire is a book of magic that typically includes spells, instructions for creating charms and guidance on summoning spirits. It often contains tips on using various magical tools such as herbs, crystals, and candles. Additionally, grimoires can serve as personal magical journals, allowing practitioners to document their experiences and rituals. Historically, grimoires have been associated with various traditions of magic, particularly in European contexts. I don't personally feel that gives off positive vibes. I don't know if we can get the image up. I take things serious. Again, I'm only interested in the elements of light. I'm not interested in the darker side of things. This is worrying to me. If you're going down this path to where you're doing the, I don't know if we're going to get the other one up now. You're summoning Hecate and you want to communicate deeply, then you start looking like this, now, let's just see what the latest video is, because maybe, but then it's like, what are you blending between? That's my concern. It's like you might start seeing half decent videos, but it's like, but what's happening in your private life? That's the concern, isn't it? Because anyone can start putting on I think energy speaks for itself. Like, what vibe do you get off people? I'd like to think people get a sincere vibe off me. You get a decent energy and things, because I'm not corrupted. I'm literally whimsical. I'm on my own path. Life can get heavy sometimes, just like it does for other people. You'll see me suffering, but that's because I'm not a sellout. I feel things deeply, like deeply. There's a lot of injustices in my life, but you won't see me sell out to get around it. I'll take it head on, and I'll go through the things I'm supposed to come out the other side. And I'll share and document those journeys along the way. But that's my path. What other people are doing with their life it's not really my concern. But I worry about who they're impressioning upon. That's my concern. So if she is corrupted, I'm not saying she is. Think how many people they have following them. Now I've lost all that tension with this. You've got 231,000 followers. By extension, the profile I'm using, my old profile, I'm not even using it, by the way. I'm not creating content at all. I'm just watching some videos. I have 8 followers, 167 likes, and 1 following. It's probably just me. That account doesn't even exist anymore on my main profile. So that's literally all I have. That's me. That's what I'm watching content from. Literally, it's insignificant. It's literally nothing. So I have no influence. They've got 270,000 followers with 20 million nearly likes. That worries me. Like, you're working with books of spells. So let's see where she's gone from. I personally think she's going to have highs and lows, very serious ups and downs. What's this one? Because look, she just might like fashion. I don't want to over exaggerate anything. Let me give her the music because I get copyrighted stuff. It's gone very black. Like, I'm wearing a black t-shirt. I pick black t-shirts because it's basic. Sometimes I wear like I had blue ones and like red ones and things. I just got sick and tired of it all. It's like some of them are just terrible colours. They don't go with anything. The reason I go with black is because I can have like 1 million of these, and I've got like about 10 of them. And it's just simple. Well, you wash one, put another one on. Wash one, put another one on. It's like I've just got a load of black ones just because I think they go with everything. That's kind of what I'm a very basic individual. I'm not a fashionista person. I don't really like fashion. Can't be asked of it. But you wouldn't. I've got a blue jacket on now. I have a black one as well, but I have a grey one. I've got a green overcoat. So I don't know. I don't really shop for clothes very often. So you'll see, I'll buy some clothes and they'll last me years. I don't care what people think of that. I just don't care about clothes that much. I'm not got this weird fashion interest. Now, I'm not saying bad thing people do, but why the hell would you wear all black like this? Bear in mind. That's just what I'm saying. I'm going to stop in a minute because I think I'm going to go down a path here where it's just like, it looked like personal attacks. It weren't the thing. She's got a blue jacket, the jumper there, so let's at least give her that. And she's turning to this black one. Wait a minute. Okay, it's not black, it's dark blue, so that's good. Well, she's got hair. I think that's a wig. Can't go from bald to that. I don't know what's going on with her. Or perhaps she always had a wig. I really don't know. I don't want this to be a personal attack.
Self to do things because you're feeling this new beginning that's coming. Allow yourself to rest. You've done a lot already. Don't try to force, like, don't force yourself to do things.
But hopefully this is good. What I would say is, knowing what I know, in a sense of this occult stuff that she's gone down, when you get a tarot reading off someone, or not just no tarot, but let's say you're trying to get a reading off of someone, let's get rid of this shit. You are allowing someone access to your energy field, and they can do all sorts of shit. You know, they can mess with everything you have. Also, you can go down a dark path. If I was looking for a tarot reader, or like someone just to just help with something you're going through, knowing someone goes that far into the darker occult, I consider it, I wouldn't let them do anything with me. You know, I wouldn't have a session with them. So I'm not saying people shouldn't, but I'm saying I wouldn't. So yeah, and I think that's the thing with me. I take my energy seriously. So I don't look. This is a different side of it as well. I'm not someone who is in and out of relationships. I'm not someone who is has one night stands. Never had a one night stand in my life. Literally, I've had one partner my whole life. And when that ended, I've been alone for the 8 years since. That's me. I don't mix my energy too well with people. Like I take it serious, and I've always innately took it serious. And again, as I've gone on a spiritual development, I sort of understand now why I did. So I've always had that in me to be that way. Never quite understanding it. Always thought I was a bit strange, a bit odd, because everyone around me does do those things, and it was just never of interest to me. And I always recognised how reckless it is, how disrespectful it is to yourself and things. You know, it's just I don't like the chaos that comes from it, and it doesn't really add anything to me. Like I prefer emotional connection to someone. You know, intellectual. So I have to be. You know, doesn't mean you can't have fantasies of other things, but it's like it's not a fan. If let's say you had fantasies of other things, it's more. It would just stay a fantasy because it's not something you would play out in your reality. You know, because that's something that can't happen because you wouldn't allow it to happen. It just wouldn't be of interest in that way. So maybe there's a curiosity, but not something you would ever do. That makes sense. But yeah, look, this isn't about attacking an individual. It's showing how I personally think dangerous it can go if you go too dark, too deep, too quick into something. Because what it is curiosity is the thing that gets to you. You start unraveling things that maybe the average person isn't aware of, or they couldn't have any comprehension of at the stage they're at in their life. And you can't help but want to know more. It's almost like you've got, you feel like you have, and you really do, really. Well, some people do. You have access to the universe. You have access to knowledge and experiences that is unparalleled. Like science couldn't even understand, fathom it. It couldn't even comprehend. It wouldn't even be able to disprove or prove. So they would naturally be reticent towards it. But that's because science is always behind everything. You know, science, it's good that science catches up eventually, but by the time science catches up with one thing, things have advanced another way. So they spend absolutely ages trying to discover and prove. And of course, once they do, they take credit for it. It's like people were saying that before. You said they were lunatics. Someone, you know, now you're having this understanding that the universe is far bigger, or this is enveloped upon itself, or there's the chance this. It's like people were saying that before. So the point really is not going through your life proving anything to anyone. It's about being in alignment with yourself, which is where I'm at. So I'm not interested in any of this other validation shit. I just get on with my own life, you know. But I live a life that's entirely focused on doing the right things at a given moment. That's not people pleasing. I don't people please. The right things for my journey, what I'm supposed to be doing, what I'm here for. So sometimes it is going to be abrasive, because I might talk about things that maybe people are not ready to discuss. Maybe people like to pretend they've got it all figured out, and then maybe I talk about a topic that aggravates them. Maybe they needed to be aggravated. But I could not do that, and I could spend my life in meditation. I could spend my life just completely encompassing myself on a spiritual path. But I don't believe that's my only path. I feel I have a huge destiny that requires me to blend the two and give people the tools to blend the two too, but in their own way, you know. So it's not about coercing anyone or any of this nefarious shit. It's like all I do is share my journey, the experiences I've had, how I interpret this, how I see the future, what I'm doing at the moment, and I'll just document it. People can do what they will with the information. That's all I do. I'm not saying whether something's right, whether it's wrong. If I think it's right for me, I'll say that. But what other people think, it's up to them because it's their journey. You know, it doesn't affect me how someone else decides to live. Of course, things have an influence, but ultimately, I'm not a control freak. You know, it's like people know inherently whether something feels right or wrong. If something feels a certain way and you're denying it, and then you would trying to pretend like it's okay to maybe dismiss it, but you don't really feel it inside. It's like you're just denying yourself growth, aren't you? So it's like that's not for me to come to terms with. If you feel that you're trying to hide behind something, then you got to go through things to make you sort of like get over that hump. Meanwhile, I'm just keep moving forward. But yeah, it's like ultimately I want people to see the light in themselves. There's a lot of tarot readers, there's a lot of psychic people, there's a lot of gifted individuals. I feel that a lot of people can gain these skills themselves if you have to increase your energy, so you have to become lighter. So that's get rid of toxic tendencies, toxic people, invest in yourself. All of a sudden, you start you become lighter energetically. So you go to a higher frequency, and then you'll have new experiences that will literally change your life. And then you'll be able to tap in and ask your guides and use tarot yourself and things, you know. So the way I see it, if you're going to go far into the future, it's going to take people time to evolve. People won't need others to provide answers to their own lives. They'll be able to do it themselves. So there was a time when I had tarot readings from people. There was a time when I wasn't interested at all. And, as beautiful as it is when people give you guidance, to give you advice, I'm at the stage now where I'll just get it myself. And if I can do that, I have no doubt others can too. So really, it's about everybody getting to that point in their own life. I'm not going to keep talking now because I think I've gone way longer than I thought. I thought I was going to do like a 5-10 minute video. And hopefully it's been helpful.